Okay, hi, hello everyone. It is so good to be here with you. I want to thank you all for being part of this webinar, and I want to thank to the team of ManageEngine. It's always a pleasure for me to work with them. So my name is Mauricio Corona, and I will have the pleasure today of being your host for this beautiful, and I am really passionate about ITIL since 20 years ago, around that. So I have had the opportunity to work as a lead architect on ITIL 4 and to be co-authoring 3 books and reviewing another book. So it is my pleasure to be here with you today. So the topic that we have in this upcoming hour is going to be about everything you need to know about ITIL 4, and I want you to be sure that it's everything you need to know, because I already included several slides, and we are going to discuss just the last releases that Axelos has last week. So I will share that with you in just a couple of moments. So as you may have seen in previous webinars, you can start sending your questions anytime. So I will proceed right now with the topic about ITIL 4, and after that we will get I will pass this to my colleague Gutam from ManageEngine, so he can explain us how this can be reality on the ManageEngine tool, and then we will get back to the questions. So please feel free to send all of your questions throughout this webinar. So what I wanted to, I always a lot of people ask me about, hey Mauricio, but why ITIL 4? Why this updated was needed? And I will say that in the last a couple of years, the main trends on enterprise service management, not only in IT service management world, but in enterprise service management, has been all of these topics. I have a lot of people have been asking me about digital transformation, value chains, high velocity service management, organizational agility, resiliency, of course, customer experience and user experience. That's something huge, something big that is coming. System thinking, of course, automation, a lot of automation. We are seeing plenty of projects across the globe. All of the organizations are struggling with digital transformation, and one of the keys is automation. Of course, being lean, agile, and what about all of the service orchestration? What do you need to do in order to achieve the same objective or the same value? Robotic process automation, that's a hot topic as well, and of course this has to be a lot with automation, but it has to be a lot with artificial intelligence as well. And it is artificial intelligence on the traditional side. You know, it is like expert systems. That's the traditional side, and it's like the if then else. And on the other side, we have the machine learning stuff on which we can do some kind of deep learning, and that will allow us to get the speech recognition and autonomous cars and all that kind of hot topics as well. Of course, everything, and on the top, I will say that the underlying stuff is cybersecurity, and as I previously mentioned, some machine learning. You know, so we discussed it because we're going to see, we started working on the ITIL 4 stuff by the end of 2017. We started working on ITIL 4. And a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, we start seeing a constant change on organization. It's not just a matter of processes. Yes, processes are really good, and that's the sound basis of IT service management. But we need much more agility. We need to be lean in order to move agile. So there are plenty of stuff and hot topics and hot trends that we have seen in the global industry. So we said, okay, it is time to move forward and to try to develop and to design a new framework in order to help the companies to go further, to go further on their digital transformation journey. So by the end of this session, what I am expecting is that we can answer these kind of questions. How will ITIL help me to be more lean, agile, to be much more orchestrated, etc. Will my prior investment in tool trainings and organizational change are still be relevant? That's one of the key questions that that we used to have. Is it still ITIL relevant to my organization? That's a fair question. You know, why is that? Because we have seen plenty of methodologies, of new frameworks, standards. So is it still relevant ITIL? So let's see how we can answer that question at the end of this webinar. Will my current certification still be valid? Because that's the other thing. We have been trying to develop competencies and new skills on our people. And one of the main things to do that is by running ITIL training. And what happens with ITIL B2, ITIL B3 training? Are they still valid or not? How will ITIL help me to do my job on a better way? That's a fair question as well. And will ITIL help me to grow in my career? That's the other one. And we will take a look on how the new certification scheme is focused on in order to develop a new career path, complete new career path. So what I wanted to start saying is that one of the main things that ITIL, previous iterations on ITIL was criticized is because they were very North American and European centric framework. So what happened with the rest of the world? And that's why on 2017, Axelos decided to assemble a lead architect team. So these are the guys who are included. At the bottom, you can see the guys who actually work at everything you will see on the books, on the practices. At the top, you will see the leader team on the side of Axelos. So one of the main things to highlight here is that this is a very representative framework, because you can see people from Australia, from Canada, from Netherlands, from Scotland, from England, from USA, from Mexico, from Japan. So one of the main things that we discussed is that this new iteration of ITIL should be something new, and we must try to embrace every single country, every single area, every single continent. So this was a very nice exercise, but by the first time on the 20 years that ITIL has been out there, more than 20 years, 30 years already, than ITIL has been out there. This is the first time the owners or the protectors of ITIL brand and ITIL IP then assemble this kind of team. So I was very fortunate to be selected and to work throughout the upcoming years. So the ITIL 4 is built for the community and by the community. So we have Axelos, we have the lead architect team, but we invited research and development community and subject matter experts, of course, on their NDA. So to be quite specific, we got more than 160 subject matter experts and more than 3,000 people from the community across the globe, on every single region that you can think about. We got people on which we can, after we work on the lead architect team, we start doing the research, and then we start testing our theories with all of them. So it is very representative, and that's one of the key objectives that I personally has when we start working with this iteration. So success factors for the update was to provide and of course accepted terminology across the globe. Ensures that every single practitioner will understand the system, its components, their contribution, and by the end of this webinar, you will be able to see the main system and on the other side, one of the main things that we said, hey, we just can't simply move out with the new ITIL 4 stuff and then wait for another 7 or 9 or 10 years in order to have the next ITIL iteration. That's simply not possible. So we ensure that this framework is going to be flexible and adaptable. So we are going to be able to have guidance, and this guidance can be tailored to a certain context. And on the other side, well, of course, we highlight the importance of people and culture. And one of the main things that we have seen, even in your area, in your countries on Middle East, what we have seen is that there is still a strong we need a strong focus on people and on cultures in order to develop and to enable these best practices. So of course we're highlighting that. And well, this is in short, in one graphic, the journey so far with ITIL 4. So as I previously mentioned, we started on September 2017. On October, the lead architects start with the physical meetings in London. So we had plenty of a lot of meetings in London throughout 2018. And then we start with some alpha tests of contents, on outcomes, on exams. On November 2018, we got all of the tests for our training readiness, and we launched ITIL 4. It's 1 year ago. Yeah, it's really good to see that we went out on February 2019. And to be honest, what we have seen so far is that it has been completely successful. We have thousands and thousands of sold books, thousands of certification exams on ITIL 4 in just 1 year. So, and we need to consider that it was only the ITIL 4 foundation. Well, one of the main things that I want to share with you is that in that book, ITIL 4 foundation book, we didn't launch any kind of basic concepts. What we launched on that book, it was the architectural stuff. What's the new ITIL era going to talk about? So it's a very interesting book, the ITIL 4 Foundation. Yeah, I insist, it doesn't have foundations. It doesn't have, let's say, essential definitions. It has the new architecture. And this, it's very important because this new architecture is the one who is underpinning the ITIL 4 specialist books. Right now, you can see that there are 4 specialist books, and there is one more to come. So there are going to be 7 books: the foundation, the one that you are seeing, the CDS, DPI, DSB, and high velocity, HBIT. That's the acronyms for every single one. So we launched those books at the end of 2019 and at early 2020. And just a couple of, I think, yeah, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I sent my review notes for the ITIL 4 strategic leader module. So please consider that this is just my estimation. It's not official, but my estimation is that this book, the strategic leader module, will be launched on Q3 on 2020. That's my estimation. Okay, so let's just keep looking forward for the new updates on the Axelos website. So what the key concepts are, because one of the main things and the main topics that I have seen in the Middle East is that, okay, Mauricio, what's happening because with previous iterations on IT service management, we discussed about, of course, processes, and on ITIL V3 especially, it was about the service lifecycle. So the service lifecycle was focusing on delivering value through the typical from service strategy to continual service improvement, and it is just the service provider which is the one who delivers value through services. Okay, that was the typical approach. Well, the new approach is on the co-creating stuff. That's really nice. One of my favorite phrases is co-creation. And nowadays, we just can't simply deliver value as a service provider. We need to have the right business model with the right business partners, and they will help us to co-create value for consumers, for suppliers, for regulatory authorities. So what we are doing is we are designing service relationships, and this service relationship allow us to co-create value. If I do not have a consumer, then I just can simply deliver value. If I do not have the right supplier, I do not like the word supplier. I am much more on a business partner side. So if I have the right business partners, and if I have the right regulatory authorities, then all of them will allow us to deliver on or to co-create value, and that's a very interesting topic. So this is something I would like you to highlight. On the other side, what we have is, well, we need now more than ever, we need to focus on, first of all, the external factors. And for some of you, I'm pretty sure that you are familiar with the PESTEL module, on which PESTEL figure, on which the PESTEL is the acronym for the acronym for political, economical, social, technological, legal, and environmental factors. So first of all, if I want to bring a digital transformation into my organization, first of all, I need to clarify within my organization what is going to be digital transformation for us. And digital transformation is not more than just to have some kind of disruption in our business model by using the new technology that we are having around us. That's digital transformation. So it means that the digital transformation projects are going to be completely different from one company to the other. It all depends on what do you want to do with your business model. And in order to address these new ways of developing services and products within your organization, you need to understand every single external factor. That's why the PESTEL model arrives here. So that's on the outside. And now, if we make the first zoom, it's going to be on what do we need to address, to understand, to consider in order to move forward with our new delivery or co-creation of value with product and services. Well, we need to consider the 4 dimensions. The 4 dimensions of service management are organizations and people, information and technology, value stream and processes, and partners and suppliers. It's very interesting that we are seeing not only processes, we are seeing value streams. So that means that I must be considering a new strategy in order to deploy lean and agile processes within my organization, and that's through value streams. So in order to execute or to be successful on the creation of new products and services, I need to consider all of these 4 domains. That's very important, 4 dimensions. That's very important, okay? And on the number 2, please consider that it is not information technology. It is information and technology. Please remember that data is the new oil, okay? Data is the one who is the main power source for our artificial intelligence projects. So it's very important, information and technology. And of course, everything is going to be executed, or everything is going to be created, all of the strategy and that kind of things, by the organizations and people. People, remember, that's one of the main things that we need to consider, okay? Now, if we move forward, if we just do the next zoom, remember it was the outer factors were the PESTEL. The first zoom will drive us to these 4 dimensions. If I do the second zoom, it will bring me to the blue area, on which I will arrive here. This is the service value system. If you say, hey Mauricio, what's the evolution of ITIL V3? Okay, I will say, okay, you used to have the life cycle, service life cycle, strategy, design, transition, operations, and continual service improvement, and you're moving forward to the service value system. This is the ITIL 4. So you are going, the first thing to consider is you are going from demand to value. You have guiding principles, you have governance, you have continual improvement at the bottom, and then through practices, instead of only speaking about processes, we're going to talk about right now on practices. So processes has had an evolution through 2 practices, and thanks to the practices, the service value chains will be enabled. So that's the second zoom. Now I will run a third zoom. The third zoom will go to the service value chain, and that third zoom, I will speak about this in a couple of slides later, because right now I will speak or talk about guiding principles. Please remember that guiding principles are those that are going to help us or are going to guide us on every single circumstances on which we are having or facing some challenges. And I would just like for you just to think about right now the COVID-19 situation we are having. If you said, hey, Mauricio, what does ITIL can teach me about how to address this COVID-19 situation on my organization? The first answer I will give you, I will say to you, read the guiding principles and follow at least 3 of them in this situation. What are those guiding principles? First of all, right now, more than ever, we need to collaborate and promote visibility. What is the team doing across the organization? And we need to collaborate in order to move forward much faster. Second one, keep it simple and practical. Now more than ever, keep it simple and practical. Please remember, anything that you can automatize, please do. That's the key. But in order to automatize, we need to optimize and automate. That's another guiding principle. That's the 5th one that I have here. The third one is progress iteratively and with feedback. Please do not try to do everything. Everything in the lean and agile world doesn't exist. You need to define what are you trying to address right now. So we need to move iteratively on every single new product or services. Now it's time to move iteratively, move much more faster than we used to do previously, but trying to achieve that. The fourth one is think and work holistically. Please involve every single aspect on your teams. That's why the 4 dimensions will help us. And the 5th one that I was just telling you is try to optimize and automate. Please, first of all, optimize. Remember, garbage in, garbage out. So I need to optimize and then automate the stuff. The next one is start where you are. We need to understand where are we standing right now. So we need to do a quick assessment right now on our situation, on our product, on our service, on facing our customer experience or user experience under this COVID-19 situation. Now it's really important to quickly assess our situation. And the last one is focus on value. That is pretty much what we have been hearing from the previous iterations on ITIL. So these are the guiding principles, which are very interesting. But on the other side, this is the third zoom that I was mentioning you. So if we move to the service value chain, what is in the service value chain? Well, as you can see demand, from demand to value. And you can see at the center a cube, and this is very important. We thought several days on how can we depict that the service, the value streams that are going to go through the service value chain doesn't follow a specific path. That means that they can go every single on every single area on the service value chain. So this is the way we depicted that. We selected a cube, and then we said, okay, from demand to value, one product or one service or and several value streams can go through everywhere, and we will run some examples. So in order to have an scalable operating model, what we need, individual teams and the enterprise, and those are the ones that are going to create the value streams. So in order to see and to depict that how does a value stream, how is a value stream going to go through from demand to value through all of the service value chain? Well, this is one example. Let's just think that right now we are on based on COVID-19, and we need to move forward very quickly on delivering a new service component. Okay, what's the journey that this value stream can have? Well, maybe these are the 6 main steps. It goes from engage to planning, then to obtain and build, then to design. Then to obtain, then to transition, then to deliver and support. We launched the new product and service in order to provide value right now with the actual conditions that we are having right now with the COVID-19, and we are starting to delivering value. Okay, and now we launched a new component, so there is a value stream. that supports this launch. But what about this new component needs customer support? Well, if this component needs customer support, then maybe we will have a different value stream. If a user send us a chatbot, use our chatbot, and then they say, hey, I need some help here, some support, then maybe this support goes through Engage, then deliver something or do the first line support, then get back to build, to design, to deliver the new service, and then go out to value. And then we got a second interaction on our chatbot or through our service desk in an email, and then we have a different journey, a different value stream. So this is a figure that we are using across the globe in order to depict and in order to quickly explain that the main objective is to move on with agility and to be lean. What's the main objective? Of course, is to moving faster and to address things like DevOps, like lean, agile, with our Scrum teams, etc. So the best way to do that is through value streams, and the value streams are going through from demand to value. Through the service value chain very quickly, and these kind of value streams are going to help us to enable or to co-create value on a much more faster way. Now, one of the main things that changed, the next question is after the service life cycle, it is okay, where the processes are, and the processes right now are practices. Okay, so this was the third Zoom that I previously mentioned you, and these are the practices. Okay. And why is it so important to consider a practice? Well, because practices are a way of working, or a way in which work must be done. And in order to achieve that, to address that, we need management structures, we need culture, skill, competencies, we need value streams, and processes. Of course, processes are still there, but we mean by practice that practice contains every single aspect that you are seeing right now on the screen. Information assets, tools, technologies in order to enable the processes, and of course, all of them are very important in order to execute practices. And that's one of the key things that, for example, people from ManageEngine have been working. And we will discuss later this, how a tool can actually enable and automate these kind of processes. So it's really important to see that the practices are the one who really underpin the service value chain through service value streams. So practice at a glance. How many practices do we have? Well, we have 14 practices divided on general or business management practices. Please consider that this is just the first simplification that we did, but you can consider maybe one practice on any other topic. We have 17 considered like the typical service management practices, and we have 3 more practices on the technology side. So as you can see, we grew up from 26 processes to 34 practices. And why is that? Well, we needed to do that in order to address all of the new trends that you already saw in the first slide in this presentation. So it was quite challenging. Okay. Now there is plenty of information. We do not have time in order to discuss every single practice. So what I did is that, of course, you are going to have access to the record of this session, and you're going to have access to these slides. So what I did is in yellow, you will see on the general management practices, which are the practices considered there, which are the ones significantly modified from ITIL v3. And the new one in ITIL v4. So it's really interesting. Enterprise architecture, measurement, reporting, organizational change management, not change management as we used to know it, project management, risk management, workforce and talent management. That was really nice, really nice. It's impossible to address the digital area if we do not have the right skills. On the service management practices, we have the same. And please, I want to highlight that the service design, IT asset management, and business analysis are practices, okay, new practices. And on the other side, technology management practices, are deployment management, infrastructure and platform management, all of the cloud services and that kind of stuff on premises, hybrid clouds, etc. are addressed right here. And of course, software and development management. So it's very interesting. It's very interesting. There are plenty of things to discuss, but I will tell you where can you have access to all of the detailed information in a few minutes. So the practices are the one who really and actually contribute to the activities on the service value chain. Okay, so on every single book that I previously mentioned you will have some practices, and there are going to be additional practices that they are published online on the Axelos website. So you can go and you can get your access to my Axelos, and then you will have access to every single practice. It's a small book. Every single practice is a small book. I would say like it's maybe 35, 40 pages, just every single practice. They are outside of the books because we focus the books on the main topics that we wanted to address, and we are just linking the books to these new published practices. So every single practice has some kind of a heat map. So you can you will be able to see, for example, for the change control practice on the heat map, where is the higher interaction? Well, the higher interactions are in improvement, in obtain and build, in design, transition, deliver, and there are medium interactions on planning, for example, and on engagement. So this is just a suggestion, and what we have seen is if you are going to deploy a new practice, call it change control, then the value streams are going to be mainly on the red ones, on the red sides. If, for example, we want to do the same exercise of the heat map on incident management, well, of course, where is incident management practice mainly focusing? Well, of course, on engagement and in delivery and support. That's the main engagement. And of course, there are several interactions on improvement, obtain, build, design, and transition. It all depends if it is something tough or if it is just a first level support issue, then maybe you can just only use on your service, on your value streams, engagement and deliver and support, and that's it. You will be able to handle this incident. So it's really interesting how you can see how can you scale the practices across multiple value streams. Okay, so we can actually execute 3 value streams, for example, in order to provide some single support on incident management. So maybe there are going to be 3 main interactions, and what we are trying to address is, of course, the minimum viable incident management. So this is one very nice way to depict that, because one of them of the ones that people are starting to get into the courses, ITIL for courses, then they go outside and then they say, hey, Mauricio, how can I map my value streams on actually, for example, an incident? And this is just one sample. So what happened with the ITIL 4 certifications and all of the transition for all of you guys that maybe already has some ITIL V3 intermediate course, or maybe I am pretty sure that some of you are already ITIL experts. Well, there are for every single book, there is an exam. It's pretty much exactly the same like in ITIL V3. So the guidance is written for individuals, in this case of the CDS, and right here you can see for who is this module. So as I previously mentioned, I totally suggest you that go through the ITIL 4 foundations in order to understand what's new. And after that, it depends if you are, for example, on the management, operations, delivering products and services, or if you are in charge of the assurance that services are delivered and supported, then you can go for the blue book, that it's the create, deliver, and support. If you are, for example, on the planning, review, improvement of product and services, planning work, management of organizational change, interface with governance, risk, and compliance, then I strongly suggest you that go through to the direct plan and improve. That's a purple book. On both of those books, as well as on the foundation, I had the privilege to co-author those books. So it's really nice. If you are in these roles, in these areas, I strongly suggest you that you can go and take a certification exam on the other side. Now, there's another really nice with very hot topics on high velocity IT. And if you are in charge of digital product services, highly automated environments, lean, agile, DevOps, that kind of things, then I strongly suggest you to go through the HBIT certification course. That's really, really interesting. And on the other side, there is another book that is the stakeholder value, driving stakeholder value, and it's pretty much on management and interfaces with stakeholder, design and management of relationship, you know, everything that it's considered on the co-creation of value. This is a really good one. So I want to do a quick recap on these ITIL for practices. So we have general management practices, service management practices, and technical management practices. It's really, really interesting that the new focus is on these kind of practices instead of processes, just simple processes. So it's really cool. So remember, one of the main changes is practices, not processes. The structure of the practices and publication is on every single book, they have the same structure, and you're going to find this structure: general information, value streams, organizations and people, information and technology, partners and suppliers. So of course we go to drill down to the 4 domains, and this is the how it looks, the certification module. So every single book on the certification has learning objectives, syllabus, non-material examinable material, table of contents. And once that we worked on this, then we worked on the publication manuscript. That's the book, the practice references, and the practices guides. And this is where we get all of the exam questions and the sample paper. So the core book is much more than an exam guide. That's really important, and I have always said this, not only in ITIL 4, but in ITIL V3 and ITIL V2 is pretty much exactly the same. So the guidance are based on proven and practical experience. That's pretty important, because what we didn't want to happen is that you go to a certification course and then you go outside and it's very theoretical. So that's not the case in this scenario. So the first certification exam that you can take is the ITIL Foundation, that I previously mentioned is the architectural part of the new ITIL. Then it's focused on these kind of things: concepts, 4 dimensions, guiding principles, pretty much what I said, but of course on a much more detailed view. Then create, deliver, and support, the other book that I already told you, focusing on these kind of things. Then we have the drive stakeholder value. That's as you can see on the managing professional side, there is the high velocity IT, and there is the direct plan and improve. Okay, so all of these books are already available. The last one that it has been launched on Q1 this year, it was the high velocity IT. So once that you go through foundation and these 4 books, then you get the batch of managing professional. Managing professional is not a certification exam, it's a batch that you get once that you go through all of these. Now, as you can see, direct plan and improve can help us as well to get the strategic leader. So the next book that is going to be launched is the digital and IT strategy, which I was telling you that maybe it's going to be on the next Q, on Q3, and then you will be able to get the new certification. For all of you that are ITIL B3 experts, you can bridge to ITIL Managing Professional just by running this course, this certification course. So I strongly encourage you that if you are ITIL B3 expert, go through this, because it's not going to be available for too many months. So I totally suggest this, to go through this, so you can actually see what changes from ITIL V3 to ITIL 4 right now. Okay, and well, we are just waiting for this one. This is not available yet, and this is going to be focused on aligned digital businesses and strategy, new ways of working, complex business, and of course everything about the key practices. Okay, and well, we are still do not know exactly how this is going to be focused, the ITIL master, but of course it's going to be to assure that the professionals can explain and demonstrate their ability to apply everything that we have been discussing so far in this one. So wrapping up, these are the new concepts and models. And if you said, hey Mauricio, just one slide, what's new? This is the slide. Okay, this slide, and I will use as well the wrapping with the processes and practices, the evolution from processes and practices. So these are the new concepts and models. This is the new certification important. Getting back to the questions of that I already say is that how will ITIL help me to be more lean, agile, etc. Of course, this is going to be through our service value chain, service value stream, enabled by practices. Okay, well, my prior investments in tooling, training, and organizational change will be relevant, and it will be for my organization as well. The answer is for both of the last one are yes. Will my current certification still be valid? Help me to do my job better? Help me to grow my career? I strongly believe that the answer is yes. Is yes as well. So this is pretty much what what I have prepared for you. So I will handle this to it is Santosh. Santosh is the one who is on the other side. So I will just get back the controls right now to Santosh. So Santosh can take the control, and let me just skip this. Okay. Hi, Santosh, how are you? It's so good to have you here as well.
Hi, Mauricio. I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. It's nice to hear your session on ITIL 4 practices. Thank you so much for your lovely session. So, hi, everyone. I'm Santosh Mahiban. I am product specialist from ManageEngine Service Desk Plus. I've been with the organization for more than 10 years, and I've been working with the Service Desk Plus platform for all these years. Now, in this particular session, I'm just going to show you Service Desk Plus on premises with the product from ManageEngine, just for all of us to know how the product is aligned with the ITIL processes and the components that we have just discussed today. All right. Now, so I'm just going to go over the elements of the products. It's not going to be a complete product training. It's just going to be the elements that revolves around the product, and we're going to see how it has been used. All right. Now, with Service Desk Plus, what we have done is we have introduced a concept on enterprise service management. So all these years, the help desk that we were offering was revolving around IT's best practices, frameworks, the concepts, automations. Everything has been around IT's perspective. Now, with the evolution of other service departments and teams coming right into the business function and piggybacking on IT saying that we need to extend the process, what IT has been following for our HR department or for the facilities department, travel, any other department within an organization that wants to provide services and cater to the users, just as how IT operates, that's where the challenges kept arising from. Now, we've discussed a lot of these ITIL modules like change control, service management, SLA management, incident management. So all these processes that we were discussing, IT has been perfected down these years because IT had the requirement. And what happened is that we slowly wanted the other departments to use it, and there is this necessity for the same. So in Service Desk Plus, you have an option to create help desks for different departments, just like as how you do for IT. So just as how it is available for IT, you can have it available for other service departments as well. So your HR can have their own set of templates. They can have their own set of classifications. Then they can have their own set of SLAs. So it necessarily not needs to be as how it is there for IT. So you could have different set of templates, categorizations. You can have your own change management process for your HR. So this is totally different from what you do from IT. So basically, IT can just create or spin out and help desk for HR or travel or facilities, and they can go ahead, set up their entire help desk process as how it is required for each of their business function. So this is what ESM is all about, and this ESM is now being extended to cater other departments, and we are also working on to fit in the exact business terminologies. Now, next to ESM, we're going to see about the request management portion. So in Service Desk Plus, we cater the incident into the request management into incident and service request management. For each of these incident or service request management, we have own set of configurations. So we have templates, we have workflows, which is called as request lifecycle workflows that you could configure to cater your incident or your service request process. So you can build your graphical lifecycle workflows for your incident process, for your service request process. You can have entire different set of templates that actually holds these processes. So that makes your request management a lot more easier. So to have your incoming requests being handled, either be it incident or service, we have processes or workflows to work on that. We have templates and categorizations, and the channels that end users can report an incident. We support the mobile app. We also have the chat inbuilt within the product. The end users can have their own self-service portal, so they can report incidents through that. So we have a lot of these mechanisms following around it. Then we have the service level agreement process that we wanted to discuss. Now, service level process, again, we have for incidents, and we have them separately for service request management, because incidents are going to be based on different conditions, based on different values. The SLAs has to be gauged and assigned. But whereas when it comes to service request process, it is going to be based on that specific service. So we need to have the end users understand the SLA that has to be adhered for each of the particular service. So that is why when we have different services created, we have SLAs predefined on the service forms. So that gives a best practice for service level agreement process, because end users would know the services will get time to will take its own time to deliver, whereas for incident, based on the conditions such as the type of user, or based on the priority, or any of the values, the SLAs are assigned to the ticket. You can also configure operational level agreements between different groups, so that you could evaluate the time taken for each of the groups. So not just for the tickets SLA, but also how each and every group operates and how long they have taken to address or cater the issues. Now, just as we've discussed for the request management, we have incident and service bifurcation, then we have templates, workflows, SLA management that tags along with all the incident process. Next comes the change management part. So in change management process, we again have templates. We again have workflows that you could configure for the change. So whenever you create a change record, the change record has its own workflow. You can have the change record moving from one stage to the other. And then based on how the workflow is configured, the system is going to send out alerting notifications or communication channels that could be established. So we have different type of communication mechanisms. And while working on the change, the user can make public announcements right from the change. And normally a best practice tool should have announcement mechanisms or communication mechanisms right from within the help desk tool. In today's case, most of the organizations tend to go to their email client to send out a company-wide notification through their email client, but rather it can be done right through a help desk solution. Right from an incident, a problem, or a change, you can do the communication process through announcements or send out emails to have more relation with other IT service management processes. Because when you're working on a change, it could be a simple change that you could break it down as tasks, or the implementation could be a larger implementation where it needs to be catered towards a project. So in Service Desk Plus, we can extend the implementation of the change through project management. And when you're doing it through project management, the best part of that is that the project admins or the project managers can view the progress of the entire project using a Gantt view, a solution where people can see how are the projects trending, what are the subsets of each project, like the milestones, where it is. You can export the data as a PDF. And I've been with all the other change management discussions that the organizations do. And from an old-fashioned chart paper, these kind of tools help them to discuss ad hoc, like on the meeting, they could make use of these Gantt charts to discuss where the projects are trending, like when it's supposed to start. Is it like going ahead, or is it falling right on line, or does it need a course correction? If that's the case, there is resource management right within the project management to manage the resources easily. So using the resource management, you could just go ahead and choose the resources that are available. Then you could go ahead and say if it needs to be like assigned to different technicians, if they are available, or different users. So I could basically go ahead and chart out my entire resource segment. So this way I could just filter out the resources that's available between the time period based on how this particular project is trending. I can drag and drop the resources or arrange the timings. So during a team's discussion, these tools will help the organization to reorganize the resources, utilize them correctly, drag the resources between different users who are available. So these are tools and elements that you could make use of in a project management. Likewise, you can focus your attention towards a specific project. You can break down the project into milestones and tasks. Well, you could also make use of Gantt view, which is available within the project. Then you could also make use of the resource management, which is available within the specific project. So these are all the tools that you could use to work on change and project management. So these tools together is what is going to help you handle your change management process effectively, your project management process effectively. And again, when it comes to large-scale implementations for the organization, it's not only about just implementing the project or a change, it's all about tracking down the progress, capturing the man hours, the time taken to resolve. So all these are possible using the change and project management tools. And also we have timesheets or space where you could track everyone's performance or the productivity right from within one place. So that's where tools like timesheet helps the change management solution and the project management solution to work effectively. Then we also have the problem management part, which tightly works with the incident management aspect of the application. And the best part is that the request management, problem management, change management, and the project management has tight coupling between each other, because just as the nature of how a project has been triggered, it could be just as a project itself, or it could be an extended implementation of a change. Likewise, a problem could be a problem reported directly, or it could be an evolution from an incident that has been reported by many users. So likewise, you could have the change triggered from a problem or an incident or from a project, or even as a change by itself. So this way, each of these modules integrate with each other. And the best part is that when you're working on a ticket like problem, you get enough space to break down the problem for analysis. You could add solutions, which could be a workaround, which is a permanent solution. Not just that, you can add these solutions right into the knowledge base that has been used by the user community, or you could just have it for the technicians. So these are all the benefits you get when you're working on a problem. And also, when you're closing a problem ticket, there could be thousands of incidents that has been mapped to this particular problem. So what the system does is that it extends its automation such that when you're closing the problem, you can close all the incident tickets that has been mapped to this problem. The communication is really important, so you can send out email notifications to the end users. to the who have created the incident, or the technicians who are working on those tickets or who own those tickets. You can also transfer the information into the resolution of the ticket for end users understanding. These are all mechanisms and operations that you could use right from within a problem management tool, as well as there are a lot of collaborative communication solutions that you could make use of right from within the problem management segment. Now, there's also this knowledge-based segment that is very useful for the users that is available in the product. Through this knowledge management solution, what it benefits the end users is that when they log into their self-service portal, they can view all approved and published knowledge-based articles. So articles that have this green dot and a lock that is open, these are all knowledge-based articles that's available for the end users. And Service Desk also prompts these knowledge-based articles to the users when they're trying to create a ticket. So this way, even before they create the ticket, the system proactively helps them understand that if you're creating a ticket for your operating system crash or setting up a printer, here are the solutions that you could try. So this knowledge management not only helps the end users, but also for the technician community. So any approved solution which are not published for the end users, it's going to be available for the technicians. And the best part is that when technicians are working on incidents, the resolution is going to be pre-populated with solutions that are readily available. This helps the technicians to go share the information right away to the end users as well. Then we have asset management portion of Service Desk Plus, which brings in all hardware and software asset management. Then this is done through a lot of automations that system does. So a one-time configuration on the scanning piece helps the organization to gather all their hardware assets, the software that's installed on all those hardware assets. Then there are other variety of IT assets that we scan. So this way, using our simple scanning techniques, the organization's assets are in one place. The challenge in today's customer community is that these information are stored in different system of records or in spreadsheets, which cannot be tallied at all. Imagine there is a change that you need to do on your data center, and if your data center asset is not managed within your help desk tool, it's going to be challenging. And again, without a proper CMDB, you need to have a proper CMDB for organization to understand how your data center has been mapped out. So when you're creating a change record or when you're creating a problem record, today's case, organizations find it very difficult to understand how your data center has been mapped. So over here, you could have CMDB with predefined business views to understand how the architecture is being mapped out. So this is a business view that you could readily use so that from the business view, you can understand what are all the services, the assets that has been related, how the organization's services are being used. So this way, you could quickly branch out these information to understand how the service, the assets, the users, everything is mapped together. Not just that, even if you just go right into your organization CMDB, if you have a tight CMDB managed, you could just view the relationships, how it has been configured. So here is the data center. It talks about the applications, the services, the firewall configurations, how they are set up, who are the technician teams that are taking care of it, what are the other services it depends on. So you could frame all these relationships. So the primary thing is that you need your asset management portion. You need to have your IT service management concepts set up perfectly. So when you do that, you could use tools like CMDB to understand the impact of a particular service or an asset in your organization. Not just that, if you have the change management or the problem management mapped to each of those particular CIs, it flags it on the CMDB relationship. So it helps the change managers or the change planners to understand if there's an existing change already scheduled or if there's a problem ticket that's already been created. So these are all the IT service management practices or the IT asset management practices that has been aligned with the ITIL processes. Then the product offers out-of-box extensive reports. So based on the type of edition that you're using and based on the type of module you're using, from the system you can get extensive reports on incident, service management, problem, change, projects, assets, your CMDB data, all these could be reported and exported out. We also have a different type of report builders like the query reports, or you could run matrix reports. You can modulate or create new reports. So these are all the extensive services that Service Desk Plus offers. And whatever you're looking for right now, it's not just for IT, it also caters to other business functions like HR, facilities, and so on. Now, the modules may vary, and based on the requirements for facilities, the segments may vary, but the best practices and framework that we did for IT is now being extended to other business functions in Service Desk Plus. Well, I understand this would have been a very short summary on the product's capabilities and its features, and I hope that this information would have been really helpful for everyone who has been participating in this webinar today. So with this, but no further delay, I'm just going to transfer the control to Mauricio so that he can go ahead and answer your questions.
Thank you so much, Santosh, for this very sharp presentation. And so we are getting back for questions. And well, as you can see, Santosh is a ManageEngine product consultant, and he is based in your area. So I think that it's always really important that you can have local experts on this matter, and then so you have Santosh, which is good. So there are some questions that you have been asking, and some of them were answered. Just to recap, what happened to the ITIL processes? Well, we used to have 26 ITIL processes in V3. Then we moved to 34 ITIL 4 practices. Okay. Now we have on the other side. Will you send this PowerPoint? Yes, of course, and with all of the recording. How can we implement all of the ITIL 4 practices in ManageEngine? As you can see, as you just saw on the Santosh presentation, you can use the very comprehensive and very extensive suite that ManageEngine has, and it's very modular, and those modules are aligned with ITIL 4, so which is really great. They have done a really great job since the ITIL V2 version, so it's good. What is the release management? It's pretty much on the same modules, right, Santosh? What is the release management module?
So release management in the on-premises is currently works in progress, but we also have the cloud offering of Service Desk Plus, which has the release management readily available. Perfect.
Then if they want to add a new service to be designed and implemented, how can they do that in the tool, Santosh?
So a new service such as?
Yeah, it's just like that. I will say that maybe if they were asked to add a new service to be designed and then implemented, how they can map that.
Got it. So what we at ManageEngine do is that we pretty much sit with clients, understand their basic requirements on what needs to be configured, and we help them to set it up based on clients' requirements. So what you see out of box is basically some standard practices that has been done most of the time, and to extend that service to cater to their business, what we do is we sit with clients, we understand how their requirement is, and we help them to set up their IT instance. Likewise, go for HR or other instances. We share our best practices, we share our customer experience along with what the client wants, and we implement that in the solution.
Great. So we have a question as well as how do you describe an ITIL practice? And it was on just in the slide 20. That's why we switch directly to that slide. And a practice is a way of working. So it is a way in which the work must be done. And just remember that a practice, it is called a practice because you need to adapt and adopt the practice. And to adopt the practice, you need the management structures, the culture, the skill, the value streams, the processes. So that's what the practice means. So it's it's really interesting over there. And now on the other question is, many business managers on the C-level have a high level of understanding of service management, but wants to give more and support that their department and service management team improving the company. What are the recommendation book or modules to take? That's a really, really interesting question, because we have seen that throughout the years, there are plenty of C-levels, CFOs, not only the CEO, CFOs, CTOs, that have been trying to understand ITIL in order to support better their teams. So what I would suggest is to take the ITIL strategic leader side, which would be on the two books. The first one will be Direct Plan and Improve, which is already available, and the second one is on the digital and IT strategy. So those books are the recommendations. The other one is, the last one is how do I get the book on the 34 ITIL practices? And that's very interesting. That's a very nice question as well as all of the others. The practices are not written in a book. The practices are written down separately on the Axelos website. So if you go to the Axelos website, axelos.com, and then you ask for my Axelos, it is a subscription. I think that it is a 50 pounds subscription per year, and you have access to all of the 34 practices plus digital badges plus additional templates and that kind of things. That's the kind of the membership. So you can get the full body of knowledge by buying the books, and you can get all of the detailed 34 ITIL practices by accessing the Axelos website. So that's pretty much, and we do not want the recording to be much more longer. So please consider that you can always email us to us. And I have the Gautam email here, but please consider that Santosh email is Santosh, MAHIBAN.B @sohocorp.com. We will send you the detail on the new PowerPoint. So please consider that you can send us anytime you want an email, and consider that Santosh is a ManageEngine product consultant. So anything you need on the detailed side, of course, you can always send an email to us. So, well, Santosh, thank you so much. Thank you to ManageEngine as well for inviting me, and very looking forward to seeing you on another session.
Thank you so much, Mauricio. Thank you, everyone. Stay safe and have a good day.
Stay safe. Take care. Bye-bye.